The movie starts by showing us two couples named Patrick and Adeline who had come to a farm to celebrate their Valentine's Day. Patrick proposes to Adeline, but just then his photographer's call comes in. Patrick gets angry at him and cuts the call, then starts proposing to Adeline again. We then see Patrick's photographer, who had been brutally killed by someone, and right after that, the killer stabs an arrow into Patrick's head, killing him instantly. Seeing all this, Adeline goes into deep shock. That killer then starts chasing Adeline to kill her. Adeline starts running from that place to save her life, while the killer keeps attacking her with arrows. One arrow pierces Adeline's leg, injuring her badly. Adeline gathers her courage and runs to a nearby farmhouse, where she finds a caretaker. Before Adeline can tell him anything, the killer kills that caretaker as well. This makes us realize that whoever comes in front of this killer, he kills them without a second thought. Now Adeline hides inside a machine. The killer starts approaching her. Before the killer can catch Adeline, she shuts the door on his hand to stop him from coming inside. However, the killer turns that machine on, and we see Adeline being crushed inside that machine in a massive blast, which is considered a very horrific death. We then see the killer, who is wearing a mask with heart-shaped eyes. From now on, we will call this killer the Heart Killer. Now the scene shifts, and we see a news channel where talks about the Heart Killer are going on. This killer comes out on Valentine's Day, finds couples, and kills them brutally. Because of this, many couples were scared, and some were not even celebrating Valentine's Day. Now the story shifts, and we see two girls, Annie and Monica. Annie had come to drink coffee with Monica. Annie was a bit upset because her boyfriend had broken up with her and was dating someone else. Now Annie meets a guy at the coffee counter named Jay. Jay asks her to have coffee together, but Annie accidentally insults him. After this, Annie leaves Jay and rushes to her office. Annie had insulted Jay, which made her feel embarrassed, so she ran away. Annie works in a jewelry company. Her boss was very upset with her because Annie had made a very depressing ad for Valentine's Day where she showed the end of a couple's relationship. Because of this, the company's publicity had become very negative, and Annie's boss scolds her a lot. After this, Annie's boss introduces Jay, whom Annie had met earlier and was shocked to see again. Annie's boss tells her that she will help Jay, and both will prepare a romantic campaign together, and they should discuss it. Therefore, she suggests they go out in the evening to talk. Annie agrees. After this, the scene changes, and we see the same farm where Patrick and Adeline were murdered. The police were there, busy with the investigation. Here we meet Detective Jean Saw, who was always busy with her phone. Then the investigation begins, where she finds a man's ring, and inside that machine, Jean finds bones and hair. Right there, the killer had decorated Adeline's heart inside a heart shape with a rose pattern. They also find an incomplete picture of the Heart Killer, which Patrick's photographer had taken, but this photo was of no use. Now the scene shifts to Annie and Monica, who are sitting and talking. Monica tells Annie to move on, and also shows a photo of Jay, seeing which Annie feels a little attracted to him. Now both go shopping, where Annie buys a dress for herself. At night, Annie gets ready and goes to the same restaurant where their meeting was fixed. While going inside, the guard checks them. During the checking, a steel straw is found in Annie's bag, and she says that steel straws are good for nature. Now Annie and Jay sit for the meeting, where an argument breaks out between them about love. Jay says he believes in love and has full faith in it, while Annie did not believe in love and had no trust in it. The argument between them grows so much that Jay walks out. Annie also follows him out and apologizes to Jay for her behavior. Suddenly, Annie kisses Jay. Annie did this because her ex-boyfriend was coming into that restaurant with his girlfriend, and she wanted to make him feel jealous by showing Jay as her boyfriend. A little talk happens between the two couples, and they go their separate ways. We see that the Heart Killer had seen Jay and Annie kissing, and now the Heart Killer's next targets are Annie and Jay. Jay takes a cab to drop Annie home. They talk along the way. Annie's house arrives, so she gets out of the cab. Jay was about to leave, but he realizes Annie had forgotten her keys inside. Jay tells the cab to wait for a while and goes to help Annie. Annie says she will break the window glass to get inside, but Jay tells Annie that he will do this job. Jay punches the window, injuring his hand. To put a bandage on his injury, Annie brings Jay inside, where they talk a bit. Annie goes to put some of her things away, but the Heart Killer was already hiding there, waiting for them. The Heart Killer attacks them. Jay fights with the Heart Killer. The Heart Killer keeps attacking them with arrows. Annie hits the Heart Killer with a flower pot, injuring him. She takes Jay to a room and they run. They lock the door tightly from inside. Both plan to escape in the cab, but the Heart Killer kills the cab driver. Now Annie doesn't know what comes over her. She stands in front of the Heart Killer and starts explaining to him that they are not a couple. But why would the Heart Killer listen? He starts aiming his crossbow at both of them. Both run and reach a cold, desolate place. The Heart Killer starts strangling Annie, and to save her, Jay hits him on the head from behind with a pipe. This blow makes the Heart Killer angry, and he throws Jay away, injuring him and making him unconscious. Now Annie takes advantage of this opportunity and runs from that place, and the Heart Killer gets stuck behind her. Running, Annie arrives at a place like an amusement park. While the merry-go-round was moving, the Heart Killer attacks her, but Annie keeps escaping his blows and eventually kicks the Heart Killer off the merry-go-round. Before anything more could happen, a police car arrives, and the Heart Killer immediately vanishes from there. Annie is shocked to see how the Heart Killer disappeared so quickly. The police officer takes care of Annie, and during that time, news comes on the walkie-talkie that the police have caught the Heart Killer. Hearing this, Annie gets confused because the Heart Killer was just here. So which Heart Killer did the police catch? Now the scene shifts back to the desolate place where Detective Saw was considering Jay to be the Heart Killer. The police had put Jay in the car, and Jay was very angry with Annie because she had left him unconscious and run away. Detective Saw's claim was that Jay was found unconscious at the spot, and he was also wearing the Heart Killer's mask and had the crossbow. Basically, all the things that the Heart Killer carries were with Jay. Annie tries to explain to the officer that this cannot be possible because the Heart Killer was attacking both Annie and Jay. The officers don't trust their words and take take both of them to the police station. Detective Saw believed that the heart killer is not alone, and if Jay is the heart killer, then Annie might be his partner. Now the scene shifts, and Jay is shown being questioned by the police. Detective Saw shows him the ring they found at the previous crime scene, and Jay confirms that it is not his. In fact, he is not even married. Officer Hobbs gets frustrated with Jay's talk and moves forward to beat him, but Detective Saw kicks him out of the room. Now Detective Saw asks Jay, "Do you care for Annie?" To which he says, "Yes, I care for her." Meanwhile, at the reception desk, Annie requests a lady officer to find out what is happening with Jay. Just then, she sees the same guy who had invited her for coffee, but Annie politely declines him. This guy worked at the police station itself. Then Detective Saw and Jay have some questioning, where she gets a bit suspicious of Jay and goes out to meet Annie. Outside, Annie felt that the heart killer had come to the police station, so she moves forward to confront him with a leg piece, but there was no one there, and Annie gets startled by the arrival of these two officers. Now Detective Saw questions Annie, "If you both are not a couple, then why is the heart killer after you?" To which Annie says that maybe the heart killer saw them kissing, which led to a misunderstanding. Suddenly, the lights go out, and Detective Saw goes to another room to check the power. Annie was sure the heart killer had arrived at the police station and tells the other lady officer to be careful. But then, from behind, the heart killer attacks the officer with a post, finishing her forever. Now we are shown that the heart killer's eyes were glowing, but it could be that he was wearing night vision glasses. Now he goes after Annie, but Annie was very brave. She attacks him with a dustbin and runs inside. On the way, she meets Detective Saw, who tells her to run and shoots at the heart killer herself. Now the scene shifts inside, where the heart killer also brutally kills Detective Hobbs. Annie runs to Jay, who was tied up in handcuffs. Now he was trying to free himself, and the killer attacks him, but Jay dodges him several times. Then we see Annie break the glass of the interrogation room and start firing, but not a single bullet hits the heart killer. However, one good thing happens. The heart killer runs away, scared of the bullets. Annie gets out of the station and gets stuck inside a truck while trying to ask for help, but then Jay comes from behind and saves her.
Both are very close to each other. Just then, the heart killer arrives, and both start running again. While running, they reach an open-air cinema where a fair was set up. The heart killer comes after them and starts killing anyone who gets in his way. Both hide from him and sit in a truck. There was a couple in the back of the truck, but they didn't have time to think about all that and started talking to each other. These two get close while talking. We find out that in the past, Annie has always seen good couples, including her parents, but Jay has always seen his parents fighting. Jay tries to find true love, but he was betrayed every time. On the other hand, Annie had changed completely and started hating love, but tonight, when she was almost on the verge of dying, she is happy because basically these two had fallen in love with each other. The couple in the back starts making noise. The heart killer gets annoyed and finishes that couple. Seeing them die, panic spreads throughout the fair. The heart killer was committing murders one after another. Meanwhile, Annie and Jay were escaping the heart killer's attacks. Annie decides that she will face the heart killer so that other couples can be saved. I mean, the heart killer wants the couple Annie and Jay, right? It's a different matter that whoever came in his way, he was finishing them off. Here, Jay supports Annie. Both distract the heart killer and make him follow them. But before that, they think of taking a weapon. Annie says she has her steel straw, but Jay says that is not a weapon. Now the same couple was lying ahead, whom the heart eyes had finished. Jay and Annie pick up a neck brace and go after the heart killer. There was a lot of physical struggle between them, but at one moment, Annie hits the heart killer on the head, injuring him. Meanwhile, Jay takes advantage of the opportunity and plunges the killer's own machine/weapon into the heart killer's heart, and this nightmare finally ends. This scene was quite gross, which makes Annie vomit on the heart killer. After removing the mask, both realize that neither of them knows him. Now the police arrive and take the heart killer with them. The police also take care of this couple, and now finally, America was free from the terror of the heart killer. Detective Saw comes to Jay and is convinced that Jay is not the heart killer. She offers him a lift home. He didn't want to take the lift, but he takes it anyway. But he had to go somewhere from that night's flight, and he gives Annie his number and leaves from there. Annie was very sad about Jay leaving. She also returns to her home. Now Annie goes home and starts missing Jay. She gets a call from Monica. Monica motivates Annie to go to the airport and stop Jay, and Annie goes to the airport. Annie doesn't see Jay anywhere and gets a call from an unknown number. On the phone, the caller ID said, "Heart Eyes." This crazy killer calls Annie to a Valentine's Trust where they had held Jay captive, and unwillingly, Annie reaches there. Inside, she finds Jay tied up, and from behind, the heart killer is seen wearing his mask. As the heart killer removes his mask, we recognize this man. He was the same guy who had asked Annie for coffee at the police station, and his name was David. Now, who was the second Heart Eyes whom Annie had finished? That man's name was Eli, who was David's partner. Annie finds out that this is a team of 3 people, where 2 main people, David and Detective Saw, are a couple who used to hunt other couples, and Saw has been with him for the last 10 years. Every Valentine's, these people hunt like this. If one gets caught, the other takes their place, and the one who finished Adeline in the first scene was none other than David. Now Annie asks, "Why did you choose us? We weren't even a couple," to which they both say that first, they were going to hunt Annie's ex-boyfriend and his girlfriend, but as soon as they saw Annie and Jay kissing, they changed their plan and went after them, because they thought these two had strong chemistry and their job is to finish people in love. So yes, that's why they thought of finishing Annie and Jay. And these crazy people give Annie a choice. Either she finishes herself with the gun lying nearby, or she finishes Jay, which will make it clear whether she loves Jay or not. Or if Annie kills Jay, it will prove she doesn't love him, and then the heart killer will leave them, because they only kill couples in love. After hearing this, Annie puts the gun to herself, but shoots it into her leg/side. Annie was very smart, so she shoots Jay in a place where it wouldn't hurt him much, on his shoulder. But what happens is that this bullet hits Saw, who was standing behind Jay, and she falls to the ground for a while. In this short time, Annie and Jay run, but both get caught here. Jay is caught by David, and Saw attacks Annie here. Meanwhile, Jay stabs David's arrow into David's own leg, making him stagger and knock down several candles. Saw goes crazy at this and starts choking Annie completely, but Annie was not weak either. Finding an opportunity, she plunges her steel straw through Saw Saw. Annie pushes Saw onto a statue/spike, finishing her forever. David makes one last try to attack, but Jay finishes him forever. Finally, the Heart Killers were dead, and all 3 people who were the Heart Eyes were killed. After all this, Annie and Jay were together, and because of her bravery, her company was also happy with her, and the company's sales were going up. All the office people party, and then we go to a theater and watch a movie. During this movie, Jay proposes to stay with Annie, but Annie gives him an even bigger surprise, where she brings a ring and proposes to him for marriage. Jay gets very happy and says yes. Just then, he gets a call from an unknown number, and someone starts talking to him in a very scary voice. Annie gets scared by this, and it feels like maybe the Heart Killer is back, but nothing like that happens. It was Annie's best friend, Monica, who was scaring them from another phone. She also takes a video of the proposal, and the movie ends right here.